Greetings, friends. An unfortunate incident took place in Delhi where resident doctors who were protesting the delay in the admission process for NEET were beaten by police. This has become almost standard procedure nowadays, especially around Delhi, which is becoming a hub of agitation. The core of the issue here is the delay in admission processes for the NEET exams, which causes an additional burden on resident doctors who are out in protest. Now, we have seen earlier protests of resident doctors, of frontline healthcare workers, especially during the pandemic. These are the most important in the healthcare system of our country. These have been the most important people in dealing with the pandemic. The government has been treating it with the same neglect and ignorance that it has been treating the healthcare sector as a whole. And it is not simply this BJP government. The neglect towards healthcare in India, public healthcare especially, has been systemic throughout most of its history. Let us see how the news has reported this. Here we see an article from India Today. The resident doctors met with the Union Health Ministry and they were left unsatisfied. Two core demands have been raised: a apology for the paper saying alleged, but the video is there for anyone to see what happened. It's clear that the police used violence. The doctors were threatened as a case. And a written assurance that the NEET postgraduate counseling and admission process will be expedited. This comes to another point. Thanks to the pandemic, exams and other educational entrance exams especially have been held off and delayed. This has been causing additional burden on resident doctors. And of course, they've been expressing regret. Shouldn't have created this condition in the first place. Matter is sub judice before the Supreme Court. Yet to receive a written apology from the Delhi police over the handling of protesters, and a registration of FIR against the protesting doctors has naturally irked them further. This also shows, among other things, how difficult it has become to organize and agitate in India, especially since the rise of the BJP. Now, these have been continuing. We saw the ASHA workers protest, the junior doctors protesting in different states of the country. There was one major protest in Karnataka. They won concessions over there. There are ongoing protests among nurses in the SSKM hospital in Calcutta here. Pandemic has really brought to the fore the failings and limitations of India's healthcare system. The way out, of course, would have been to create a publicly funded national health service similar to what exists in the United Kingdom. This itself was a victory of the British working class after years of agitation. In India's case, universal healthcare exists, but a large part of it, most of it in fact, is dominated by private practitioners and private hospitals. Government hospitals are underfunded, are under-equipped and understaffed. This naturally creates a situation like this where doctors, nurses, frontline healthcare workers become overburdened. Now, the chicken has come home to roost. All the problems that have been unanswered for decades have now come out because of this pandemic. Our support, of course, must be with the resident doctors and the frontline healthcare workers. Their demands are legitimate, their demands are reasonable. The government needs to step up its actions. It's not enough to simply sprinkle flowers over doctors and call them heroes. Take concrete action.